Prime Minister and Minister for National Security Dickon Mitchell called for a collective approach to dealing with the issue of violence against women and children. His appeal came against the backdrop of Friday's killing of 14-year-old Esther Patterson on the sister island of Carriacou.
And it is particularly devastating and disheartening when we wake up to news that a 14-year-old has been killed. Think of the consequences, what that does to our friends and her family and those who go to school with her. To recognize that it is people who are known to them, who are supposed to love, care, and protect and cherish them, are the ones perpetuating this unimaginable pain and violence upon them. And so I call upon all of us to recognize that now is not the time for blaming or finger pointing or calling for the death sentence. It is a time for us to go back to our values, our behavior, and the sense of community that we need to be honest and accept that we have a problem as a nation and that we need all of us to tackle it.
The National Security Minister denounced the lack of sensitivity displayed by some individuals in their social media postings, noting the potential to add further grief to affected families. He called for good sense to prevail.
And we need to be mindful that when there is criminal conduct, that someone is a victim. And we ought to have regard for the families and the victims of crime in our public pronouncements. And it is not a time to score cheap political points or to try to appear who is first out the block with a comment or with condemnation or with hysterical rhetoric, merely to appear as a strong man or a strong woman. Crime affects all of us, and they need to be discreet, empathetic, and sensitive, particularly when they are victims, should be borne in mind.
The Child Protection Authority has intervened to provide support to the affected family and to aid with police investigation. Corporate Communications Officer at the Child Protection Authority is Donella Hostin. The CPA, she said, sends an appeal to anyone who knows or believes a child is exposed to abuse to report same to the CPA or the police.
Since the incident occurred, the Child Protection Authority team has been on the ground in Carriacou. We currently have one social worker and 2 counselors providing some psychological support to family and friends of Esther Patterson. The CPA team has also been assisting police officers with taking statements where statements need to be taken. We must also empower our children to use their voice and speak up if they feel unsafe in any situation. And we remind our adults that it is our responsibility to listen to our children and seek assistance from the relevant authorities, including the Child Protection Authority or the police, when any such reports of abuse or neglect of violence is made. Our emergency number is 473-533-6990.
The Prime Minister added that crimes committed against non-Grenadians and Grenadians should be treated with the same measure of sensitivity.
So while we want to have a lot of attention brought to a crime that may involve non-Grenadians because of the impact on tourism or how we think people may perceive or view Grenada as a result of a crime that affects a visitor or a non-citizen, it is just as important to appreciate that when crime impacts Grenadians, that they deserve the same attention, they deserve the same outrage, and the same sense of sensitivity, privacy, and empathy.
30-year-old John Kendall Alexis of Lauriston, Carriacou, was charged with the offense of non-capital murder for intentionally causing the death of Esther Patterson by unlawful harm. Alexis made his first court appearance Tuesday morning at the St. George's No. 1 Magistrates Court before Magistrate Francine Foster. He was remanded to prison and will make his next court appearance on April 16. Christina John, GBN News.